All right, we're back today. We got quite a lot of little things to do, plus we're going to be working on hopefully showing what the pickups look like when the tank's driving around with them. We're going to have to do some fancy drawing. So let's get started. I guess the first thing to start was let's look at our pickups again. There's one issue with the pickups, and that's they all seem to change at about the same time when they're first created. So here in the create event, we just set the countdown to 500. And every pickup, when it gets first started, starts at 500. So the first time the pickups change, they all change at the same time. Until you drive over one, this doesn't really change. So we're going to randomize this a little bit. We're going to say, well, before we do this, actually, we're going to change our execute script. So let's go there first. I'm going to copy this. Because what's interesting about this is that you do it in all three spots. And then the reason why this bugs me is if you do it in all three spots, you should probably just put it in the script rather than copying it 3 times. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. Yeah. What I say is I'm going to copy this. So I click on it, say Control-C, and then I get rid of it. Okay? Why am I getting rid of it? Because I'm just going to put it in the script. It needs to happen in all 3 spaces or places. So let's just put it in the script. Save us some time. So here we go. Here's a move pickup script. And again, right here at the bottom, after we jump to our point, then that's when we want to do this last part. If I say paste here, we set the alarm at that point. Okay? Which means then back on the, so this is in the script itself. Then back on the object pickup, we did that in the create event, but also the alarm event. When the alarm goes off, we also execute the script and then set the alarm. So we can get rid of that now because now this set alarm is in the script. So let's just get rid of that. So we're just consolidating that into the script itself. And then finally, the other one is with tank parent when it collides with a pickup. So if you go to tank parent, see this collision between tank parent and the pickup. Here too, we just want to delete this because we've moved that into the script. If you ever have that situation where you have a script and then you have something else and it's in all 3 places, you might as well just add it to the script. That way everything's all in one place. You fix it in the script and it's fixed everywhere. Okay, so get rid of that one too. And now that should happen in the script. Let's now go to the script. So we want to go back to the script, and now we can make this a little bit more random timing-wise. Right now it's set to that. And what I'm suggesting is why don't we randomize it a bit, and we say iRandom. Remember, iRandom generates a random whole number, and we want to go, let's say 150. That's about 3 seconds. And then before iRandom, we're going to say 300 and then plus. Okay, so we say we're going to go at least 300 steps or 300 frames and then randomly add a number between 0 and 149. And so you can get up to 449 or you could get 300. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit random. And notice, instead of having to change this in 3 places, we only have to change it here because we got rid of all the other ones and put it here in the script. So that's the important thing about putting things in scripts, is it gives you a single location to make the change, and then it affects it anywhere that script is called, which is 3 different spots in our program. That's what's cool about making your own scripts, is if there's a bug here or an enhancement, like say this is, you only have to make the change once. You don't have to do it all over the place. Okay, so let's see if that changed the behavior of our program. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Okay, so we're watching the power-ups or the pickups, and then hopefully they'll change. See how they're changing at different times? That's good. And then they'll choose another different time here. See, so they're all kind of moving around kind of randomly, okay? Yeah, so that's kind of what you want. Now, the reason why I haven't done the views yet, where we zoom in, we're going to have 2 views into the game plus a mini-map, is I wanted to show you this behavior so you could watch the pickups kind of change spots every once in a while. Now, one of the things we got working is when we run over a pickup like this tank pickup, it just changes it into another type of pickup and then puts it someplace else, right? See, if I drive over this one, see it got put over there and switched types. Okay. All right, so we've got that behavior working really well. The pickup system looks like it's pretty much done. We still have to figure out some things when we drive over the pickup, but at least we got that working. We still have the problem, though, that the tank's driving through each other. See that? It's like the tank's not there. A couple things people have tried is they try to make both tanks solid. That doesn't seem to work. One thing I normally do with this, and it just doesn't seem to work. I'll show you the problem. I'm here in object tank parent, and what I do is I add a collision event between object tank parent and itself. So if it hits another child of object tank parent, okay, so this is what you do. You go to object tank parent, add a collision event with itself. That's weird. Okay, obviously this would be the other tank. And what do we want it to do? Well, basically we want to do the same thing as we did when it hits the wall, and then just set the speed to negative speed. So I would say speed here. And here we just say negative speed, just like we did with the wall. Okay. So that was my first idea. Let's just make it just like wall, because we're not driving through walls, right? So I say go. And for some reason, which I'm not understanding, is this doesn't work. Okay. So here I'm driving, I go, and I just drive right through the tank. See that? I'm going a lot slower, but eventually I get through. Okay. So that doesn't work. We just have them slowly merge, and then finally they let go. Okay. So why that's different than the wall, let me go try driving through a wall. Maybe the wall is doing that. See, I can't go through the wall. So what's the difference? Well, one of the differences is the tanks aren't solid. Okay. Okay, so then I was thinking, well, let's make the tank solid. So don't make this change, because this doesn't work either. But I just want to show you the problem. So I make, well, this might work. I made object tank 1 solid, but I didn't make these solid, so maybe that would work. So I'm going to try that one, and then go to tank 2 and that one. Okay, so don't make this change yet, because we're still experimenting at this point. So I'll make them solid. This might actually work, actually. So let's see. Solid, yeah. So making both of the children solid does seem to work, but does it cause other problems? I don't know. Let's see if our pickups go away. Yeah, it doesn't seem to cause any other problems. It may later, but for now, let's just make them solid. I did try making the parent solid, and that didn't work at all. I think solid has to be done on the actual object and not on parents. So solid doesn't work with parents. It's got to be per child object, I guess. Okay, so by making them solid, now they don't drive through each other. Okay, so then the solution then is go to tank 1, make it solid, go to tank 2, make it solid. And then in tank parent, when you hit another tank, to make it bounce, just set the speed to negative speed. Okay? And then we don't have tanks driving through each other. So that's another problem we can check off our list. Other problem on our list, our bullets go too far, right? Or our shells, I guess they call them shells. So let me just show you. We really don't want, we're going to have like little mini zoomed in windows, and we don't want this shell to go clear across the room, killing everything until it gets to another spot. Okay, that's way too far. Okay, that's going to go off our little mini screen and just kill anything in the room, even though it's not on screen when you do that. Okay, so we want to limit it a little bit. So how do you limit its range? Well, one thing we could use is the alarm system. So let's use that alarm system. All right. So where's our alarms? Okay. So when we create the shells, this is true for both types of shells. They're both going to have the same range. So we should go to object shell parent to make this change. Here, we want to do this when it's created. We want to set an alarm when it's created. So we add a create event. But the problem is, well, I'll show you what the problem is here in a second. So I add a create event, and I say, okay, I'm going to set an alarm in this create event. Okay? And I'll say alarm. Here, set alarm. And we're going to use alarm 0. Now, it's okay to use alarm 0 here because it's on a different object. There's actually 12 different types of alarms numbered from 0 to 11. And those are unique per object. So just because we're using an alarm 0 somewhere else doesn't mean we can't use it here. As long as it's on 2 different objects, we're okay. What should our countdown be? Well, how long do we want it to last? And we want it to last about a little over a second, maybe. Maybe we say 50 here. Okay, so we set the alarm, but anytime you set an alarm on something, you also have to put in the event what happens when the alarm goes off. So here we're setting the alarm. Here we're saying, okay, the alarm went off. We're back here in shell parent. Okay, and then we say add event. Here's the alarm event. Alarm 0 is the one we set, so we do that one. And all we want to do is just get rid of the shell, right? So we say destroy. That's this one. And its default is to self, so it will just destroy itself. So once the alarm goes off, it just destroys itself. Okay, simple, right? And the answer is no. It's never that simple. If I run it, you would expect that when you create the shell, the alarm would be set, and then it will go off, and then it will get rid of the shell. But if I fire, like I did last time, let me turn a bit, and here I'm firing, and notice my shells still are going clear across the room. Does anyone know what's going wrong? I just put it in the create event. I just set the alarm. I did everything correctly, but still it doesn't work. All right, so the problem here is it's a problem with parent and child stuff. Okay? If you look here at the parent for the shell, right, we see that it has a create event. But then if we go to the child shells, here's shell 1. Notice that it too has a create event. That means the way parents and children work is that this create event overrides the parent's create event. This is a super important concept to understand if you're going to understand object-oriented programming. When you create the same create event handler, like create, it's going to override the parent. Notice this little symbol over here. Here, it shows a parent with 2 children. Here, it's saying, hey, you've overridden the one on the parent, so it's going to use yours instead. So because it's calling this shell's create event, it's never calling the parent's shell's create event. Okay? So if I go to this create event, we see that what happens in this create event. Let's find out. We change the direction of the shell picture, and then we make the shell move in the direction of the tank, and then we set the speed. Okay? All that is happening, but it's not setting the alarm. Because again, this is overriding the parent's create event. So how do we fix this? Well, we just have to tell it to call the parent event. So if you type in parent up here, see it says call event, call parent event. You want to do that first. Call the parent event create event, which sets the alarm, and then do the rest of the stuff that's specific to object shell 1. Same thing with shell 2, is you want to call the parent event. Okay? Because the parent events, this create event is overriding it, and if we call the parent event, then we kind of negate that overriding thing. So here, make sure to do that in shell 2 as well. Now when we do that, I wonder if it changes the picture. Here's shell 2. Now it still shows it's being overridden, but we're making sure we call the parent events first before we do the children's part of the create event. Okay, so that's how you do it when you have part of the create event in the parent and the rest of it in the child. You can do that, but you have to remember to call the parent event. Now if I actually run this, hopefully the shells behave the way I want, and that they peter out after a little time. This might be too long, so I'm shooting, not working. Well, that's bad. So what's the problem? Well, the problem, I'm thinking, here's the alarm event. Oh, here's where we create it, right? Now we set the alarm to 50. Well, that's correct. We set alarm 0 to 50. Yeah, what do you think? What was that? Oh, I didn't. Okay, let's look at that. So we go to shell 1, and maybe it got this one? It's in the child. Was this in the wrong class? Let's see. We are in the create event of the shell 1. No, we did that. Maybe I wasn't in the shell parent. No, I had that. We set the alarm. The alarm goes off, and it destroys self. So that looks right. So one problem might be is my time is maybe too long. Okay. So let's look at that. Here, where do we set the alarm? It's here in the create event. So I set it only to 50, but let's just try it really short. We'll say 10. So I'm misunderstanding something, I'm thinking. Okay, so I fire, still going across the whole room. Don't get it. So does anyone have a solution? Do you see the issue? Okay, so I'm not sure what's going wrong here. Maybe the parent's not set up. It says object shell parent. This is object shell parent. Yeah, they both have that as a parent. We did this in the create event. We set the alarm. We made it really short so we could see it, but that didn't seem to happen. So this is the alarm being set. It's set on the parent. And then when the alarm goes off, that's also on the parent. Maybe I already did that. Shell parent, everything's fine. Okay, so I go to shell 2. I'm wondering if there's an alarm event. No, there isn't. See, we're getting that one from the parent. And here we say call the parent event, which should, oh, this is the create event, right? So it calls the create event. And then when the alarm goes off, we have that in the parent. I'm wondering if that will work. I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah, I don't get it. Okay, so one thing we can do when you're having a problem like this is you can say, well, maybe we put it in the children, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an alarm event here. So don't do this yet. Let me just see if this actually fixes the problem. I put an alarm 0, and what I have it do is destroy itself when the alarm 0 goes off. Okay? And then I do the same thing in shell 2. I put in an alarm event, alarm 0 event. When the alarm 0 goes off, I'm just going to destroy myself. Okay? So let's just see if that works. I'm really puzzled here. I don't know why it's not working. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. So here I'm firing. Still clear across the room. My alarm is not working. All right, so that didn't work. Okay, so it was working in the last period. So let me bring up the last period's project. I'm going to delete this off the child so that the parent's one will actually happen. So here, deleting this one, and then in the parent, here, when the alarm goes off, it should destroy itself, and it's not doing that. Okay, so I'm going to open up the other classes game and see what's going on. I want to see if there's anything different. I don't think so, but let's take a look. So here I'm opening up the other classes game. We're going to see how they did it. Okay. So first of all, we look at the parent shell. There's our create event. And we set alarm 0 to 50. So 50 is what we use. Here's alarm 0 here. When it goes off, we destroy self. That's fine. Shell 1 just inherits, and we call the parent event. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So I have it set up exactly the same way, right? Of course, it works differently. This is in the create event. So we call the parent event. Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, so I really don't know what's going on here. So let me think about another thing I don't like about this is when you open up another project while you're in one, the other one seems to disappear. I don't see the other project. So I'm going to open up our current one. This is here. No. Okay, so just looking at it one more time. Setting the alarm 0. That's correct. And then the alarm goes off. And it should destroy itself, which is object shell parent. Yeah, everything's fine. It says self. Okay, so we're going to have to wait on that one. That doesn't seem to work, but I don't want to waste any more time on it. So we'll fix that next time. Not sure what's wrong. If we go back to our list then, let's find our list. Here's our list. Put a time limit on how long the shell should last. Haven't been able to do that yet. But we got a collision mask set. We figured out what they look like when they collide with each other. Here it is. Replace or create what should happen when the tank picks up the tank fix pickup. We're almost done with that. There is one more thing we need to do with that. Let's take a look. Let me find it here. Okay, so that's, if we go to our object, it's our object tank parent colliding with a pickup. Okay? And we're doing everything right, except the problem is we're restoring too much health. What we're saying, if you drive across the tank fix pickup, it fixes you completely, all the way up to 100. Put your health back to 100. That's too generous for this game. Now, I'm thinking we should only give them 50 health, not 100. Okay, 100 makes the game too easy. And we want to give them half as much. But the question is, how do you code that? Well, you don't want to give them more than 100. So say it's 70. They have 70 health points, and you add 50 to it. Now you'll have 120, which is too big. So we want the upper limit to be 100. But if it's less than or equal to 50, then we just want to add 50 to it. Throat's really dry. So how do we do that? Well, first off, we need to ask what the current health is. So here you have to be careful. So there's an if statement here where you could just say if health, but that doesn't work. You have to use this one, the one that says if health. Which one is that? Health. Yeah, if I type in health here, it'll tell me health. Yeah, this one, if health. Use that one. Okay. Where do we want to put this? We want to put this at the top of this one. Okay. Right? So we say if health. And we want to say here if health is less than or equal to 50. Okay. So they've got some room to actually give them 50 points. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to drag this to the right of this if statement. So it's controlled by the if statement. See that? And I'm going to say set health to 50, but I'm going to say relative. We know that it's for everything 50 or less than, then we can add 50 to it, and that would give us enough room underneath 100. If it happens to be 50, they'll get 100, but if it happens to be 40, they get 90. If it happens to be 10, they get 60. If it happens to be 0, well, they'll be dead. So this wouldn't happen. But anything 50 or lower, except for 0, I suppose, it's going to add 50 points to their health. But what if it's greater than 50? Right? What's the opposite of less than or equal to? And the answer is greater than. Not greater than or equal to, a lot of people would say. So we say else. So drag this else and put it on the bottom of this if. Okay? Else. Well, what do we do instead? And here we type in health again. And this time we want to set health. That's this one. Set health. Drag it to the right of this else statement. And here we just want to set it to 100, not relative. Because if it's 50 or higher, or if it's more than 50, we don't want to give them more than 100, so we're just going to set it to 100. Even if they have 90 and they drive across the tank fix pickup, we only want to get it back up to 100. So 100 is our limit. So this will do that. This will make sure that we don't get more than 100. Okay? So let's make sure that that's indeed how it works. So, all right, I'm going to make some damage on one of the tanks. So I'm going to go shoot this tank. I want to get it really damaged. See there? Really damaged. And then I'm going to go find a tank fix-up pickup. And there's one. Boink. See how I didn't get completely restored, only partially restored? For me to get fully restored, I have to drive over another pickup. Okay. Let's try the other tank. Oh, let's fire at this other tank. So you should test both tanks just to make sure. Oops. Okay, so that's certainly less than 50. And I drive this other tank. and I run across it. And sure enough, it doesn't completely fill up my health bar, but it does help somewhat. Okay. So it's not a complete. If I run over another one, there's one. It completely fills it up. Now, if I shoot at this tank, it should lose from its health. If I have more than 100, it's not going to show me hitting it. But since this is, let me turn it a bit. Yeah, it seems to be working. So yeah, it looks like it's working correctly. Yeah, question? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so we've got the tank fix-up pretty much working. There's one last thing to do on tank fix. Yeah, question? Okay, I'll come over once I get done talking. Okay. All right, so what's different about the tank fix from the other ones is the other ones give you ammo. Okay, we have the rocket, which should give you 10 ammo. We have the bouncing bomb, so when you go over the pickup, it should give you 10 pieces of ammunition. And then the shield isn't really a weapon, but it gives you 10 shields. So each one of those gets 10 things. The tank fix one doesn't give you 10 of anything. It just gives you restored health. So that one's a little bit different. But there's a rule in the tank game. And the rule is when you collide with another pickup, it erases the pickups that's already there. And the way we're going to show whether we have a weapon or not is whether we have any ammo. Because remember, 0 is valid. If you remember our constants, 0 is the rocket. So we can't just say, hey, if it's a 0, put a rocket thing on there. We have to first check the ammo. So when you roll across the tank, you do have to, the tank fix thing, you do have to clear the ammo. So let's do that as well. So here we're in the tank fixing part. That's this part. If we zoom in right there, you see the type equals tank, then we do all this stuff. One of the things we have to do at the bottom here, after this one, oh, I think we do that actually. See how we set the weapon to 0 and the ammo to 0? Okay, that's important because later on we're going to draw it. And we don't want to draw a secondary weapon symbol if they don't have any ammo, right? Here we're also clearing the weapon, which isn't a bad thing. As long as we only draw the weapon when we have ammo for it, okay? All right, so I think that's it on that. And then here, what we do is we set the weapon. If it's not the tank fix, then it's just a regular pickup. And so we set the weapon equal to the pickup's type. And then we set the ammo to 10. The question is, how do we show that? Okay, so let's go back to our plan for today. Here's our plan. Have the tank show, let's say, replace or create what should happen when the tank picks up the tank fix pickup. We did that. So here's one of our things we haven't done yet. Have the tank show which secondary weapon is active and how much ammo each tank is carrying. Okay? Ooh. So there's a couple ways you could do this. Remember, we have 2 players, but you could just write it on the screen somewhere so that they could look at it. But it would be even better if it, just like the health bar, it followed the tank around. And so we're going to try to do that. This could be a complete disaster, but we'll give it a good college try. See if we can make this work. Have I coded this before? Answer is no, not in GameMaker 2. So we could have lots of problems. Why don't I figure this out beforehand? And the reason I don't is because I want you to see how I solve problems on the computer so that you can see how a programmer thinks when they run into problems. And believe me, we'll run into problems on this one. There's going to be a lot of problems. Okay? Yeah. All right, so what are some of the problems? Well, we haven't got to those yet. What do we need to do? Well, we need to draw how much ammo we have. Let's do that one. That's simpler than the other one. So that means if you remember, like say, we're on the tank parent, right? we created a draw GUI event, and on that we draw the health bar, right? And it looks like this isn't going to work, okay? And the reason why this doesn't work is because when we go into viewport mode and we only see part of the room, draw GUI is supposed to be always drawn in the same place. This is for things like a score that's up at the top of the screen, or maybe these are controls, maybe screen controls, like little toolbar buttons or something. You'd put that in draw GUI. In order to avoid that problem, we're going to change this one to just draw. So go in here and say change event. And instead of a draw GUI, we're just going to do a draw. Now this may cause other problems. We're in the parent tank, and we're going to have it just draw the health bar. I think the reason why we chose draw GUI is that the tanks can run over the other tank's health bar. So, oh, I don't even see the health bar. What happened to the health bar? Oops. Okay. So I was afraid that we were going to have a problem there. What's the problem? Well, remember that each of our tanks as well, maybe it has the same problem as we had with the Sprites or with the shells. Here's tank 1. Does it have a draw? It does have a draw. See that one? So again, it's overriding the parent. So we're having the same problem. So if we go draw here, what are we doing? Oh, we draw self. Again, so what we have to do is call the parent event before we draw ourselves. It's in the parent event that draws the health bar. And then if you take over the draw event from GameMaker, then it assumes that you're going to draw yourself or draw the object yourself. So you have to do that. And you have to do that in each tank. Tank 1 and Tank 2's draw event. See that one? It's overriding the parent. So you got to remember, anytime you override the parent and you still want to do what the parent's doing, then we have to call the parent's object. I'm so tired of this screen. So we say call parent first. And then I think we can avoid two problems. We can actually see the health bar, and when we do the viewports, it's not going to be all messed up. What's the main problem here? Ooh, wait. See that one? The tank 2 didn't work. The other problem is if I drive by tank 2, see there how the health bar goes underneath tank 2? That's bad. Okay? That's the reason we tried draw GUI, because the order was wrong. So we're going to fix that one later, because we got some other problems with that coming up. Okay? So, but why didn't it work for tank 2? Did I not do it right? Let me go to tank 2. Am I in tank 2? Yeah, there's tank 2. We have the draw event. It's a child of tank parent. We call the parent event, and then, oh, I'm in the wrong object. See where it says shell 2? What's going on here? Am I completely mixed up? Yeah, I'm completely confused right now. Hang on a sec. So tank 2. Oh, that's the key up event. I'm going to go to the draw event. Oh, I see. I put it in the wrong place. Now that was here's the draw event. Yeah. Oh, I wonder where I put it then. Huh. I thought I did this twice. I think I was in the wrong event. Let me just look around. Yeah, I think I put it there. That's wrong. Sorry about that. So I'm getting rid of this one. I accidentally put it in the shell. Okay? So again, to do this correctly, in tank 2, you want to call parent event before you draw yourself. And now we have the best of both worlds. We have the health bars on both. And then if I shoot, the health bars are still working. The problem is I drive underneath the health bars, which is not good. So that's bad. But now what we'll do is we'll see if we can write how much ammo we have. And where are we going to write that? Should we put it up here at the top, or should we put it on the side? And the answer is, well, let's put it with the tank. We're going to put it right here at the bottom right corner of the tank. It's going to be a lot like the health bar in that it will follow the tank around. Okay? So we want to use a color that's going to show on this background. So this is a lighter background, perhaps, so maybe darker text, or maybe we use white. Maybe we'll see that okay. So we're going to have to play around with the colors and see. But this is going to have to happen in the draw event. And I think we've got the pickup thing going. So right now when I draw over this, or I drive over this bouncing bomb, it actually registers that weapon and gives us 10 ammo. We just can't see it yet. Okay? So let's make it so that we can see it. Now this should be the same for both tanks. So I would put this in object tank parent so that this gets drawn in the parent tank's draw event. So here we draw the health bar. That seems to work. So why don't we do this drawing as well? So what are we going to draw? And this is where it gets hard. Ugh, my brain hurts already. Okay, so if I say draw here, draw, we want to say we just want to draw a value. Let's draw self, draw value. There it is. Because we're drawing a value, so let's do that one. Draw, not that one. This one, draw a value. And we don't want a caption, so we leave this as the empty string. I'm not sure if you leave it empty completely. Make sure there's not even a space there, okay? But the value we want to draw is this object's ammo. So we'll say ammo. Let's see if it understands it. Ammo. Yeah, that's it. Ammo. Where do we want to draw it? Oh, good question. How big is our tank sprite? Well, I don't know. I think it's 64 by 64. But if we want to put it in the bottom right-hand corner, we could say, well, just for now, let's just say 45 and 45. Okay, I'm just making numbers up now because I haven't really thought about it. But we want to draw it relative to the position of the tank. So we have to say relative here for both of those. Now one thing we haven't done is we haven't set our drawing color, nor have we set our font yet. Do we have a font yet? I don't know. I don't think we have a font yet either. I wonder what this will do. This probably won't work at all. Or maybe there's a default font or something. But let's see what we get. I have a feeling it's going to crash. Oh, look at that. We do have a font. It's our big number there. See there? Big number 0. Looks like it's green. So if I draw across this, I should set the 10. See that? It's 10. It's following us around. Well, it's way too big, right? And it's based on the middle of the tank, right? So we're not even in the bottom right-hand corner. We're even further away. That's not what we want. But at least we're seeing the weapon, or we're seeing the ammo. That's good. When we drive over the tank fixin' one, there's one. If I drive over that, I should set it back to 0, and it does. That's cool. But it's way too big, and it's the wrong color and all that. Okay? Okay, so it kind of works, but not really. And the other problem is if I drive it over here by this other tank, see how the number goes underneath the other tank, which is bad. Okay? All of those things are bad things, but it is kind of working. Okay. So what do we do? Well, let's take a look at what we did when we did the score. And that's on the controller, I think. Right? So I'm going to the controller here. In the controller's draw GUI event, yes, see, we set the font and we set the draw color. Notice what we don't set about the font. And the answer is we don't set the font size, which means we need a second font, because this font's way too big. Just like this first font, though, it only has digits in it. So let's go create that font first. So here I would say create new, create font. And then what I want to do is, it already has this range in it. I want to delete that range. Well, let's give it a name first. We'll call this font small. So this is our small font. The size we want for it, well, let's try 12. Let's see if that works. Now we want to delete the range. So here's our range. We're going to delete this and that. And we're going to add a new range. And here we just want digits. Okay? So just numbers. And we say add range. So choose digits and then choose add range. And that adds that range to our font. So we're not generating every character in the alphabet and all this stuff we're not going to use. We're only generating enough to show our font. Now, if you want to make it more game-like, maybe you could use a good gaming font is Comic Sans Serif. See if I have it here. You heard it is Comic Sans. See, it makes it look a little bit more, I don't know, game happy. I don't know. I kind of like this one, but so maybe we use that font. If you look at the numbers, it looks okay. So we'll use that. Okay, so now we have a font, but we also need to set the color as well. So here we are in the tank parent. We've got a new font. We can set the font then before we draw this value. So we're going to say set font. Font. Set font. There. You want to do that before we draw the value. Okay. Which font do we want to set? We're going to do our small font. And then what? We also have to say which color we're going to draw with. So I'm going to say color. Here's set draw color. It actually draws the font. So put that before that. And then let's just leave it at white, because I think white might work. I don't know. We'll see. And we'll say go. So we got a smaller font. It should be white. Okay, so I'm going to drive around a bit. Oh, there it is. It says, see the 0 there? Again, the setting is too far down to the right, but now there's 10. Is that easy to see? I don't know. Let's get a little bit closer. I think that's not a good color. Maybe a dark color would be better. But it is following us around. That's kind of cool. Okay? So let's take a look at our sprites, like our tank sprite. Here's tank 1. We see it's 64. The origin's 32 by 32, so it's a 64 by 64 thing. So I was right about that, but I I forgot that it was centered, right? So I said 45, which is really too far away. I would say, so we got 32. I should do this a little bit better, but let's just say it's something like, let's try 22 for both x and y. So from this origin, 22 pixels this way and 22 pixels down. That's where we'll write it. I think maybe right here. I'm trying to shoot for right there. Okay, so what does that mean? So we go object tank parent. We're in the draw event. And instead of 45, we're going to say 22. Let's try a different color. I'm going to try a dark blue color. Maybe that stands out better. So dark blue, maybe that works. Okay. Do you see it? I see the blue, but it still doesn't stand out very well. If I pick something up, there's 10. It's still a little far to the right. It would be better to keep it inside the box. Still, yeah, you have to remember that the font's being drawn based on the top left corner of the font. So 22, they can't be the same. I think we have to move it up. Yeah, maybe yellow would be a good color. I don't know. So I'm just trying different colors here. Yellow, maybe a bright. Now, yellow would be bad. I don't even know. Seemed lighter worked better. Maybe just go with white. Okay, we'll say white again. And then here, for y, we're going to subtract off 12. So we're going to say 10. Okay? Because, again, it's based on the top left corner, not the bottom left. Okay, so now it's not great. See how our number is now being overwritten by the tank. That's because we're drawing our tank last. We should draw our tank first, right? See, this is our number. That's about in the right place. If I go drive around something, or drive over something, that looks pretty good. And see, now it's still overlapping, right? We want that to be on top. Now, the last time we fixed this, we just put it in Draw GUI. That's not going to work once we do views, so we're going to have to try something else. And so, actually, you control the order here. See how we're drawing? We draw our health. This is in tank parent, right? Oh, this is a problem then. So we call the parent event before we do the draw method in tank 1. See there? Here's the draw method in tank 1. We've got the parent event being drawn before the self. That's why the tank is overlaying it. So what I would do is I would move this underneath. We want to draw the tank first and then do all the fancy stuff with the health bar and the number. We want to do that last. You want to do that in the other tank as well. So again, we're in the draw event of tank 2. And we want to change this order. Now this may make it crash, because in some systems, you always have to call the parent event first. Let's see if this one forces you to do that. I don't think it will, but we'll see. Okay, so now, sorry. You can see that the number is being drawn last, hopefully. Let me just drive over something so we can see it. Yeah, and so the 10 is not being overwritten by the tank. which means we can scoot it in a little bit more. Okay, that's not bad, but I'd like to keep it in the box at least, kind of in the box. So maybe I move it left a little bit. So I'm being kind of picky right now. But here, tank parent, draw event. And it's up to you really where you want this stuff to be, but I'm saying I got to move it left. So maybe I say, I'm just fudging it. So I should probably work this out, but I'm going to say 16. That'll move it left a little bit. It might be easier to see because it keeps it mainly on the tank. Here, there's that 0 following it around. And if I drive over something, there's 10. So I'm still not happy with the color, but given our background, I need to play around to see which color it is. Both tanks, notice, since we did it on the parent tank, we've got the 10 following us around. Okay? I think that's enough. Well, I don't know. How much time do we have? We have quite a bit of time left. Okay, so we're going to pause here for a second, take a brain break, and then we might do a little bit more.